Hey there, I'm Miriam, and today I'm going to give you a glimpse into my world. I'm 25 years old, and honestly, I hit the jackpot when it comes to family. We're a close-knit crew, always buzzing with love and teamwork. It feels like we're part of an incredible squad, always there for each other. Every evening, we have this family tradition where we gather around the dinner table. But it's not just about eating. It's our time to connect, share stories about our day, and help each other tackle life's challenges. It's amazing how a simple meal turns into a mini family conference. So, how was your day, Miriam? Mom asked, passing me the salad bowl. I smiled. It was great. I nailed that presentation I was so nervous about. That's my girl. Dad beamed, giving me a proud nod. My older brother, Ahed, chimed in. I knew you'd crush it. All that practice paid off, huh? Ahed's always had my back, especially with my studies. He's like my personal tutor and cheerleader combined. And then there's my sister, Isra, who keeps us laughing with her crazy stories. You won't believe what happened at work today, Isra began, her eyes sparkling with mischief. We all leaned in, ready for one of her wild tales. That's the thing about our dinners. You never know what stories will come out of it. But we're not just about talking. We're all about action too. Everyone has their responsibilities. Dad's the king of lawn care. Mom rules the kitchen. Ahed's our tech wizard. Isra keeps the living room spotless, and I've got the laundry routine down. Miriam, don't forget it's your turn to do the dishes tonight. Mom reminded me as we wrapped up dinner. On it, Mom, I replied, laughing as Isra nudged me. Need company while you scrub. That's the thing about chores in our house. They're never boring. We team up and make them fun. But the real fun, our monthly family trips. It's a tradition for us. We all sit down, brainstorm ideas, and plan our next adventure. How about hiking next month? I suggested during one of our planning sessions. Oh yes, Isra exclaimed. I know an awesome trail that leads to a waterfall. Sounds perfect, Dad agreed. Ahad, can you check what gear we'll need? Sure thing, Ahad replied, already on his phone researching. Mom smiled at us. I'll handle the picnic. Any requests? And just like that, we were all set, excited for our next adventure. Sometimes I sit back and realize how lucky I am. This warm, loving atmosphere isn't just comforting. It's my secret weapon. It keeps me going when life gets tough. The support, the laughter, the way we pitch in for each other. It's not just about family, it's about building each other up. In our home, love isn't just a feeling, it's an action. It's in the way we listen, the way we help without being asked, and how we celebrate every win, big or small. So that's a peek into my life, where family isn't just about blood, but about creating a space where everyone thrives. And let me tell you, it's pretty awesome. Now let me take you to a special day, my parents' anniversary. Like all family occasions, it started with excitement and warmth. We were gathered at Azra's place, the dining room decorated with streamers and balloons, and the air filled with the delicious smell of Mom's favorite dishes. Laughter echoed through the house. To 30 years of love, Dad said, raising his glass. We all toasted, the sound of glasses clinking like bells. May we all find a love as strong as yours, I added, smiling at my parents. Isra handed me a glass of what looked like my usual peach iced tea. Here, I made this special for you, she said with a smile that, in hindsight, seemed a little off. I took a sip and immediately paused. Something didn't taste of I brushed it off, not wanting to make a fuss on such a happy day. But as the evening wore on, things started to feel strange. The room began to spin, and the voices around me sounded distant, like I was underwater. Are you okay, Miriam? Ahad's voice sounded far away, his concern barely registering. You look pale. I tried to respond, but my tongue felt heavy, like it was stuck to the roof of my mouth. The last thing I remember clearly was Sarah's voice, unnervingly calm amidst the growing panic. We need to get her to the hospital. Now. What followed was a blur of flashing lights, urgent voices, and an overwhelming sense of fear. I caught bits of conversation here and there, but nothing made sense. She's been struggling with severe psychological issues. She needs to be admitted, I heard Sarah say, her words slicing through the fog. What was she talking about? I wanted to protest, to tell them it wasn't true, but my body wouldn't respond. Then a new voice cut through the haze, sharp and clear. We found traces of an unknown substance in her bloodstream. This isn't a psychological episode. She's been drugged. The room went silent. the tension so thick I could feel it even in my clouded state. Sarah, what did you do? My mother's voice was a shaky whisper, disbelief and horror creeping in. There was a long, suffocating pause. Then Sarah, her voice trembling, spoke. I just wanted the inheritance. I thought if Miriam was out of the picture. Her confession hung in the air like toxic fumes, suffocating everything around it. Even in my dazed state, I could feel my family's world crumble. My father's voice, usually so strong, was shattered. How could you do this to your own sister? I wanted to comfort them, to help make sense of the betrayal. But as the drugs wore off, exhaustion pulled me under, and I drifted into a restless sleep. When I woke, the room was quiet, the steady beeping of monitors the only sound. Odd was slumped in a chair next to my bed, his face lined with worry even in sleep. My voice was hoarse and dry. He jolted awake, relief flooding his face. Miriam, you're okay. He filled me in on what had happened, and as I listened, a storm of emotions swirled inside me: shock, hurt, anger, and an overwhelming sadness. Where's Sarah? I asked, almost afraid of the answer. Ahad's face darkened. She's been arrested. The police are handling it now. I nodded, unsure of how to process it. My own sister had tried to, get rid of me? Lock me away. The realization was too much to bear. I can't believe she would do this, I whispered, tears stinging my eyes. Ahad took my hand, his grip firm and steady. None of us can, but we're here for you, Miriam. We'll get through this together. Lying there, trying to come to terms with the betrayal, I realized that my family, the one I had always cherished, would never be the same again. The road ahead would be painful, full of difficult questions and raw emotions. But I also knew that the love and support of my parents and Ahad would anchor me through this storm. This wasn't the end of our story, just the beginning of a new chapter, one where we would have to redefine what family meant and find a way to heal. Later, the hospital room felt stifling as we all gathered, the tension thick in the air. My parents sat rigid, a mix of anger and heartbreak on their faces. Ahad stood against the wall, arms crossed, his gaze locked on Sarah. And there was Sarah, hunched over in her chair, looking smaller than I had ever seen her. I took a deep breath. Before we do anything drastic, I think we need to talk, really talk. Dad's jaw clenched. Talk? After what she did to you? I know, Dad, but there has to be more to this. I turned to Sarah. Why, Sarah? What made you do this? For a moment, only the hum of the hospital equipment filled the silence. Then Sarah's shoulders began to shake, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry, she sobbed. I'm so sorry. Sorry doesn't cut it. I'd snapped. You could have killed Miriam. I know, Sarah wailed. I wasn't thinking straight. I haven't been, for a long time. Mom leaned forward, her voice soft despite the hurt in her eyes. What do you mean, sweetheart? Sarah took a shaky breath. I've been struggling with my mental health for years, but I never told anyone. I thought I could handle it on my own. Oh, Sarah, Mom whispered. And then there was Miriam, Sarah continued, her voice barely audible. Perfect Miriam, everyone's favorite. She glanced at me, guilt weighing heavy in her eyes. I know it's not true, but I couldn't help feeling like I was nothing compared to you. My heart twisted at her words. Sarah, that's not. She held up a hand, stopping me. I know it's not true. In my head, it felt real. I convinced myself you were the favorite, that Mom and Dad loved you more, that you'd get everything, their love, their attention, the inheritance. And I snapped. The room fell into a heavy silence as we all absorbed this revelation. Dad cleared his throat, his voice laced with sorrow. Why didn't you come to us? We could have helped you. Sarah shrugged, her expression a mix of helplessness and regret. I was ashamed, scared. I didn't want to disappoint you. So instead, you tried to hurt your sister. Ahad's voice was hard, but the pain beneath it was unmistakable. I wasn't thinking clearly, Sarah said softly, her voice small. I thought if I made Miriam look unstable, maybe you'd see me, love me more. My heart ached. How had I missed my sister's pain for so long? What you did was wrong, Sarah, I said gently. But I understand now, and I forgive you. Sarah's head shot up, her eyes wide in disbelief. You do? I nodded, tears in my eyes. You're my sister. I love you, but you need help, real help. Mom reached out, squeezing Sarah's hand. We'll get you that help, sweetheart. Whatever it takes. Dad nodded, his stern expression softening. We're a family, we'll face this together. For the next few hours, we sat together, hashing out a plan. Sarah would start intensive therapy immediately. And we have family sessions to work on our communication. Dad and Dad would oversee Sarah's finances for a while, just as a precaution, and I suggested that Sarah volunteer somewhere to help her reconnect with her compassion. I'd like that, Sarah said, nodding. I want to make amends. As our impromptu family meeting wrapped up, I felt a glimmer of hope. The road ahead wasn't going to be easy, but we were facing it together. Sarah, I said as everyone was getting ready to leave, I want you to know something. I've never thought of myself as the favorite. You're my big sister. I've always looked up to you, admired you. I'm sorry if I ever made you feel less than. Tears welled up in Sarah's eyes again. Oh, Miriam, I'm the one who should be sorry. And I am, I promise. I'll make this right. As she hugged me, I felt the first stirrings of healing. Our family had been shaken to its core, but we were still standing. Maybe, just maybe, we come out stronger on the other side. As the seasons changed, so did our family dynamic. The path to recovery wasn't easy, but we tackled it head-on, united in our determination to heal. Sarah threw herself into therapy with a surprising dedication. I'd often find her poring over self-help books or practicing meditation techniques she'd learned. It was like watching a butterfly emerge from its chrysalis. Slow, sometimes painful, but ultimately beautiful. Miriam, Sarah said one day, her voice thick with emotion, I can't say sorry enough for what I did, but I promise I'm working hard to be better. I squeezed her hand. I know, Sarah. I see it every day. Our family sessions became the cornerstone of our healing. We laughed, we cried, we argued, but most importantly, we listened, really listened to each other, maybe for the first time in a long time. Sarah's volunteer work at the local community center breathed new life into her. She'd come home with stories of the people she helped, her eyes shining with purpose. I never realized how good it feels to make a difference, she confided in me one evening. As for me, I found strength I never knew I had. Forgiving Sarah wasn't easy, but it was necessary, not just for her, but for my own peace of mind. The story of Miriam's family has come to an end, but now I have a question for you. If you were in Miriam's shoes, could you forgive a family member who deliberately tried to harm you? What would it take for you to trust them again? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your perspective could help someone facing a similar situation. If you found this story engaging, don't forget to hit that like button. For more thought-provoking content, subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us continue sharing stories that matter.